You know what it is, mate? You've got a beach there, you've got a beach there, you've got a beach there, and we've got the lake district at the back of us.
Yeah.
You can't ask to live anywhere else, can you really?
Yeah.
You know.
Welcome to Barrow in Furness, and the second episode in my series, The Death of the High Street. Now, from the first episode, I asked for recommendations of where to go, and loads of you pointed me here to come to Barrow in Furness and check it out. So I've never been here before, but I'm interested to walk around and see the good, the bad, and I've heard there's some ugly, so maybe we'll see that as well. So I've parked at the station. Now, I was going to get the train here, but the train was looking like 3.5 hours with 3 changes from Hebden Bridge where I live, and it was also looking at like 42 quid. So I was thinking, right, I'm just going to drive, and my mum lives in Ambleside, which is nearby, so I'll go visit her afterwards as well. But I've got here and already an empty unit, the first one I've seen. So I read this statistic before coming here, that 17% of the retail units in Barrow are left empty at the moment, and that figure's rising as well. So it'll be interesting to see what the centre's like. So before the railway arrived in Barrow in Furness, this was just a tiny coastal village, little fishing farming village. But then it was when the railway arrived, and it arrived initially to transport iron ore to the coastal ports, and it was then with the arrival of the train line that its boom began, and it did have a boom. It had a huge boom. So Barrow's positioning geographically is pretty isolating. It's right on the west coast. There's like a peninsula on the west coast of Cumbria and the Lake District, and it sits there. So you've got the North Sea to the left and then the mountains of the Lake District to the right. So you can imagine the arrival of the railway completely changed this place, and the industry, the economy, everything. So it was in 1859 that the local ironworks opened here, and then in 1865 the steelworks was opened as well. So you had these 2 massive manufacturing powers operating from here in Barrow. It was then that 2 companies merged together, and now with the railway connecting Barrow to the outside world easily, they created the Barrow Steelworks, which became one of the largest Bessemer process steelworks in the world. So the Bessemer process in an ironworks was this new way of quickly melting down iron ore and just speeding up that process. And this place here had the biggest one in the world, and they just produced so much stuff. So many of the train lines, the actual rails went all around the world, were produced here in Barrow. So this pushed the growth of Barrow massively for the next 30 years. But then moving into the 20th century, the fortunes of Barrow moved away from the railroad, and they moved to the shipyard, building ships. So Barrow, with its tidal port and great availability of steel, it became the perfect place for building naval ships, specifically submarines. They started building submarines here. Then came the wars of the 1900s, and these actually fueled the growth and population further in Barrow. That manufacturing power was needed, so that grew even further to meet the demands of the war, to make sure we won the war. However, moving through the 20th century, the ironworks closed in 1963, then the steelworks in 1983. These created mass unemployment. And then after the Cold War in 1991, when that finished, there was also more reduction in work from the shipyard where they were building ships. More mass employment came then. So all that industry just left, was gone. The steelworks was gone, the ironworks was gone, a lot of the work from down the docks was gone where they were building submarines. Now a company called BAE still operates from here, and it actually still builds submarines to this day, nuclear submarines, and they actually offer a lot of employment to this town. So BAE, who build the submarines, and Furness General Hospital are the biggest employers in Barrow. Now they have 35% of the workforce just working for them. So let's have a bit more of a look around the centre, see what's going on, see what we can find. Another one over there empty, an old pharmacy. So you've got the market over there, which is actually currently closed at the moment for renovation. That's part of the levelling up fund that they've actually been granted. They're redoing the whole market, so we can't look around there, but that is being done up, which is good. So hopefully soon, I don't know when that's going to be finished. And then this is the main area, the main bit of town, the pedestrianised area. So let's have a little walk down here, see what we find. I thought the market was shut, but maybe it's not. Just saw on that sign there, it said it might be open. Maybe not all of it. But yeah, that brilliant Barrow that was on the bottom down there, I actually spoke to a really nice guy on the phone yesterday. I gave him a call and he was telling me a lot about what's going on, giving me some facts, figures, which was really interesting. And it was good to hear that stuff is being done, which was nice. He said they'd been working together to create some murals to put over all the boarded up shops that are in the town centre. And I think I've just come across some now, which are the ones we were talking about yesterday on the phone. So let's have a look at these. So you've got Debenhams here, big superstore Debenhams, which shut down. Guy just said 2 years ago. And yeah, so this is the place the guy was talking about, how it is boarded up. And like you'll know, I've been to a lot of boarded up places and they look terrible, but at least they're making an effort here. Look at this, it actually looks really good, I feel that's a really good thing to do. Across the way there are 2 more boarded up places, but I mean it feels a lot nicer than a lot of places I've been to be fair. So Barrow's actually secured 16 million from the Levelling Up Fund from the government, and I think they're using that to do up the market already and other bits and bobs like them, boarded up stuff. It'll be interesting to see where else they spread their money. I read that they're looking for 29 million for loads of different projects to do up the marina, to create loads of electric buses and electric bus routes. What else were they thinking of doing? Oh, like an institute of technology, I think, a new college, because what happens is a lot of people leave at 16 or 18, they go to a university town and then they don't come back, so you're losing workforce, you're losing a lot of the population to other places. So you got an empty shoe zone there, but I think in the UK you're never more than 5 minutes away from an empty shoe zone, so that's not unique. Yeah, so there you got Debenhams from the other side, closed down. I think there was a car park on the roof. I've got a feeling I read somewhere there was a car park on the roof of that place, which would have obviously been really useful for the town centre as well, just going there, driving in. But I didn't struggle parking when I came here today, to be fair. And here we go, an abandoned pub. You always find them, so sad. The Barrow Arms Pub. Let me know, I bet some of you watching this will have been for pints there. Let me know what it was like. Another shop there, just empty. Let's keep walking down here. I wonder how many abandoned pubs there are in Barrow. There's a great website, I think it's called the Lost Pub Project, and it just documents all the pubs that we've lost, whether they're still standing or they've been knocked down, but it documents them all. I'll put a link below. Check this out. Big mural on the wall here talking about the steelworks and steel rails. So steel rails were the steelworks signature product and were laid for railways in Canada, South America, South Africa, Rhodesia, India, Australia, Ireland, Japan and the USA. Look at that. That's cool though, a bit of history on show, love that. And more history here as well, more big murals, these are great. Look at these, I'm not sure if that's coming across well on camera, but they look great. What does it say on here? It says 1864, the Bessemer process made high quality steel in quantities way more than before. I was right, yeah. A blast of air through a ladle or a converter removed the carbon and silicon impurities from molten pig iron. So a bit more detail of what it was there. That is ace, that's just like a load of history. I won't read it all because there's loads, but that's so cool, just talking about the evolution of the process of how they made stuff here, all the way from the original back in 1864 way through to electric at the end there. Cool, love that. Yeah, so Barrow is identified as a higher education cold spot, which means there's a lack of people going to higher education, but in a workforce where them higher level skills are required, which is interesting. And that all affects a lot more going on in the town than just the high street, but it is interesting. And there's a big statue over here. Let's go have a look at this, see who this guy is. So the writing's really faded on there, but I'm pretty sure it says James Ramsden. So I think that guy there is James Ramsden, who was the person that brought the railway to Barrow. And he connected with those big ironworks and steelworks and created that mass of trade all around the world. Some buildings over there, some nice looking old buildings that look like they're being demolished, I think. An old bar, the Lord's Tavern. Oh yeah, that's being taken down. Look at that though, beautiful old building up there, that's stunning. Love that architecture. Wonder what that is. It's interesting because you got that, it happens a lot actually, a lot of these places. You've got a strip down there where there's them bars that looks bustling, busy, well nice, looks really nice, and then just directly across the road from it, 4 completely derelict buildings, look like there's been no one in them for ages. Hey, check out this though, a Wetherspoons that's shut down. You don't normally find that. I've never seen that before, shut down Wetherspoons. That doesn't happen. It's the other way around normally. Interesting, very interesting. All these little terraced streets, got that proper feel to it. These have all been built for the miners who were living here, all the workers that came. All these streets will have been put up for them. You always find those terrace rows, and there's loads of them. I'm seeing them all surrounding this place. Yeah, and it's typical of old mining places. Built quickly, small houses for the workers that come, probably from all around the country that will come up here to work. So I've got some statistics for you about Barrow, which all add together to build up a picture of why a town might struggle. So post-COVID, there was a 69% increase in people getting job seekers allowance and universal credit. 13% of children here live in a workless household. It's ranked 4th on the health deprivation list out of 317 authorities. Here's the maddest statistic though. So 20% of all privately owned houses or privately rented houses in Barrow have category 1 health and safety system ratings. Now I didn't know what that meant, so I've googled it and had a look, and I'll just say what that means. So these are identified as houses with potential serious harm, including death, permanent paralysis, loss of consciousness, loss of a limb, or a serious fracture. That's 20% of the housing stock here. See you at M&S back down there, who've gone. Thomas Cook, look like they've gone. Look at that mound of mail. So I've just met this fella. What's your name?
Dave.
I'm David.
Dave Gibney, mate.
I'm David. Nice
Dave
to meet
Gibney,
you.
well known,
Mate. So you live in Barrow?
I live in Barrow, Dave.
What's it like around here? You like it?
I love the town. I absolutely love the town, mate.
Yeah.
You know, I've lived elsewhere. I've lived in Scotland when I was a kid and that, but I love Barrow.
Yeah.
It's a really good town.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, the shops and that, it's gone down. All the pubs have been closed.
I mean, I've seen a few boarded up pubs already.
Yeah, there's loads, mate, and they turned them into a bed and breakfast and stuff like that, you know what I mean? You used to always get, like, they had the Rollinson Run years ago.
Yeah.
You could go from one end of the Rollinson Street to the other, with the pub being open now, they've all gone. They're all boarding houses, like you said, lodgings and that, yeah.
I mean, that's I mean, there's a lot of boarded up shops here as well, isn't there?
There is,
but I've seen
yeah.
there's like the levelling up schemes coming, so you're getting some money, so
Yeah,
maybe things will change, I don't know, what do you reckon? You hopeful?
I'm hopeful for the town. Yeah, I really am.
It is beautiful, isn't it, man? Like, I thought it.
Do you know what it is, mate? You've got a beach there. You've got a beach there. You've got a beach there, and we've got the lake district at the back of us.
Yeah.
You can't ask to live anywhere else, can you? Really?
Yeah.
You know. Hey, no problem. You take care, Dave. Hey, lovely name. Lovely name.
Good name. Take it easy, man. Yeah, sound. Just met that nice fella there. He was telling me about how great a location it is here, with the sea on one side, the mountains on the other, which was nice to hear. He said he loved it here. Cool statue over here as well. Let's check this out. Yeah, so that statue there, the 4 guys, the 4 workers, all that industry that built this place, and that was funded by BAE Systems, which are the people that still build submarines here, which is interesting. Not an abandoned pub there, just a pub that's still open. An old one it looked like, called the Blue Lamb. I absolutely loved the picture of it. The sign was great. So Barrow has a suppressed entrepreneurial economy, which means it's got low self-employment, means it's got low business birth rates, and that's indicative of places where you've had in the past one dominant employer. So looking back in history, you had the steelworks, or you had the ironworks, or you had the shipyard where the majority of the jobs were. And still now you've got BAE Systems, the place where you build submarines, or you've got the hospital, these dominant employers. And when those places go, people struggle to find work elsewhere, or there's not much incentive to start your own business. So hopefully with that levelling up fund, a lot of money will be put towards people going, right, I want to start my own idea here, because that's not really happening at the moment. So that'd be good to see a load of new things spring out of the levelling up fund that come up here. You've got a statue of a football player here, Emlyn Hugh, never heard of him. Going to disappoint my mum there with my lack of knowledge of football, but maybe impress my dad by confirming that I followed in his footsteps of taking no interest in football. So there we go, that was Barrow, and the second episode of The Death of the High Street. And walking round, it is bad, there's a lot of boarded up stuff, obviously, like, you can't ignore that, but it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. And I do like what they're doing with the murals, covering that up. I think that's a really good thing to do, just to make it look a bit nicer. You could do a lot more of it in the town, but at least it's something. As I said, I've been to a lot of boarded up places, and some places just feel like they've been forgotten about. At least they're trying here. So I couldn't come to Barrow and not head down and see the sea. So I've crossed over onto an island called Wally Island, which is separated from Barrow just by a bridge. And back when this place was bustling and there was all that work and jobs, they used this island, Wally Island, to house loads of the workers who were coming to work in the steelworks, the ironworks, the shipyard, and they built houses on there for them on the island. So you cross over onto here, and here it is. Amazing. So over there to the west is the Irish Sea, and in the distance, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a massive wind farm over there. I think it's one of the biggest wind farms in the world. And then back over to the east, there's Barrow, and then in the distance of that, the peaks of the Lake District standing there. So what a location. Like my man David said before that I met, he was like, what a location with all this around you. And I mean, this is beautiful. This is absolutely stunning. It's really, really nice. So I feel this is quite a nice place to end the film. It's been interesting, it's been really good. There's been good, there's been bad, there was a little bit of ugly, but not too much, and they were doing a lot with the ugly to make it look a lot nicer, so that's good. Really friendly people, and I mean the location, there's so much potential still, isn't there? So yeah, we'll see. That levelling up fund, they've got 16 million, they're doing bits with it. They're looking for another 29 million, I think, for this investment with loads of different projects. So it will be really, really interesting to see. And I hope you've enjoyed this. If you know Barrow, let me know your thoughts of it if you live here. And as always, hit me up with places that I should go see next. I'm really interested to see what other places in the country are like. Down south as well. I need to head down south more. But as always, thank you for watching. If you enjoy what you see, hit subscribe. Nice one. Bye-bye.